welcome to this week's Omsi 2 news. This week we have some information about two new DLCs that were released over the last week or so, which we actually talked about 2 weeks prior in the Omsi 2 news because they're in the Steam database, or one of them was advertised on Facebook. But yeah, basically they were released fairly quickly thereafter. And also we have some news about some repaints. So without further ado, let's just get straight into this week's Omsi 2 news. So the first, I've got the order wrong here. The first repaint, or the first DLC that was released on Steam is the Coachbus 250 next. This is by the same creators of the Coachbus 250 and Coachbus 256. Basically, Coachbus is just the word used instead of Ikarus because obviously due to copyright reasons, since this is a payware DLC. So basically, this is the next generation of the Ikarus 250 vehicles, which are Hungarian-made buses. And as you can see here, these are the versions it includes. One must note that all of the buses here featured are all with manual gearboxes, or at least that's what they said in the reviews. I will get into the reviews in a few moments, so we'll keep that to the ends of the talk about the Ikarus 250 next. But here you go, you can see here they have the 25.60, 25.62X, and then you have the 24.93 with different engine variants, and then you also have the 250.98, again with the 2X, I'm not sure what the X stands for, and then another 2F50 SL and with the 2X as well. And then they're just saying here, accurate geometry, that basically means that everything's modeled to the right scale and that everything is in the right shape. High quality sounds, well, I guess you guys can determine if that's the case or not. Realistic physics, so you know, bus drives accurately, all that kind of thing, and high quality textures, so yeah, repaints, all that. So here also one of the interesting things is it has kind of a fancy interior, some of the buses. So here's kind of like a very fancy little bus. But anyway, in terms of the reviews of this, there's only 3 reviews. It's not very popular, which is not surprising. Usually, the less reviews there are would indicate it's not a very popular DLC, because usually a certain percentage of people will review a DLC or a game when it's released. So the less reviews there are, obviously, you can determine from that less people have bought the DLC. But you know, to be quite honest, this so the price of this is €15. I forgot to mention that. So it's the same price as the 250 and the 256, kind of like the standard price for bus packs. But you know, really, it does look fairly similar to the Ikarus 250. Probably different in sounds and a few other stuff, but you know, it's not vastly different in the sense that it's, you know, it wouldn't be as comparable or as varied as, let's say, on you have the Vealing pack and the Gen 3 pack, for example. Even though the Vealing pack's not out yet, in terms of the bus models are different, and just kind of is a bit more different, I guess. So in a way, €15 for pretty much the new generation of the 250, the Ikarus 250, which visually wise aren't too different, you know, is going to entice too many people to go that way as well. And I presume the other thing is also there's a lot of Ikarus freeware buses, which again means that less people are willing to pay money for a payware version. So that's even something that was reflected in other reviews. I actually thought this was by Bus Trans Studio, or Bus Trains. I think it's Bus Trans, but actually it's not. It's by someone else. But yeah, so basically review wise, there's 2 positive, 1 negative, but really I saw a big enough sample to determine whether or not it's, you know, what the overall people, or what the overall summation of this pack is. But yeah, not too popular by the looks of it based off reviews. And the next DLC that was released, this one is a Harikon de E DLC, and I think it's a Harikon de E DLC anyway. Must double check that. But yeah, let me just double check that. Yes, so this is a Harikon de E DLC. It's by Ikarus Design, which I'm pretty sure is the same people that either made Grand Paris Milan or the other one, Saint Servan, or maybe both. But yeah, it's basically the French developers in the Harikon de E brand. It's basically the French developers are the branch of the Harikon de E studio. But basically, this new Bollore Bus pack, Blue Bus pack, was released on Steam. It's €12.95, I think. Yeah, it's €12.95, so slightly cheaper now. It's €2 cheap. Well, Harikon DLCs are bus DLC now is €17, so it's €4 cheaper than the usual price for Harikon DLCs. It features here, I'll go into the features. This is what it features: 3 bus variants. So you have the 12-meter solar bus there to the left, the 12-meter solar bus facelift. Okay, I'm not sure which one's the facelift, which one's the normal, but yeah, one of them is the normal, one of them is the facelift, and then you also have the 18-meter articulated bus there to the bottom right. In addition to that, you have basically the Achitia Podium 2 dashboard. So that's basically your cockpit, your driver's cockpit. There's a cash register system. This is basically a ticketer. So conduit cash register system. So it is your cockpit. You have a matrix input system. That's your basically IBIS. Various seating options. So basically that's just the way the seats are separated or dispersed within the bus, or how they're fitted within the bus. The bus has accurate electric sounds, and we'll get to the reviews. They say it's very realistic. The bus sounds are spot on, and then also repaint templates are pretty standard stuff. In terms of reviews, this one doesn't seem to be too popular either. There's 7 reviews, which I was a bit surprised to be a bit more than that. But yeah, the Omsi 2 DLCs seem to be. They don't seem to be as popular anymore. I think less people are investing in Omsi 2 DLCs, and perhaps that's explainable, since obviously Omsi 2 is now at an aging stage. But although the exception that would be stuff like Adam London, which had quite a bit of people buying it. But nonetheless, with this, there were 7 reviews, 6 positive, 1 negative. I think, and funnily enough, the person that wrote a negative review is the same person who wrote a negative review for 250 next. But yeah, basically people were saying that, you know, it's quite a good bus pack, and yeah, you can determine. So basically it comes out as €4 per bus if you do calculations that way, which is actually a bit more than €4, €4.30 per bus, which is a bit expensive, because usually with the MS, like for the Gentry pack, then some calculators being €1.50 per bus, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's really this DLC. So yeah, again, not too much reviews, not so many reviews to be able to make an accurate analysis, but you know, it seems to be positive enough. And then we have some repaints. So as you know, last week we talked about repaints for the version 1.2 of the Streetlight update. So some Arriva repaints have also been released for the Streetlight, as you can see here. And then finally we have some Stagecoach Gold repaints, which were released for the Gen 3, which you can see here. And that's really this week's news in a nutshell. And make sure to subscribe to the channel for weekly Omsi 2 news updates. Hit that like button, join the Discord to stay even more on top to the Omsi 2 news and other transport simulation news. And yeah, any questions, that kind of stuff, or opinions, comment down below. Until next time, bye for now.